Okay, this video was made by Oddly Specific Crystal. Would you survive being hunted in the woods? Probably not. I'm going to go on a limb and say probably not. I don't know a lot about survival hunting. I've been interested in some of the videos that she's made, like the zombie apocalypse one. I didn't think that one was the best. I mean, there were a lot of situations where I thought you could have done multiple of the answers and just one of them were considered the answer, like making water versus barricading your door. Which one do you do first? Well, making water. Yeah, you do. But you also have roommates in this scenario, and they didn't barricade the door, so I don't know what they're doing. They just don't know how to survive. But nevertheless, we'll see if we can survive.
This video is sponsored by Squarespace. This is a quiz to find out if you'd survive being hunted in the wilderness.
I probably won't.
This quiz does not use movie logic, but instead real escape and evasion tactics drawn from SEER training, tracking manuals, and survival psychology. It's 22 questions long. Some of the questions are straightforward, most of them are
so
not.
basically
For each
experts.
question, you'll get 4 options, and I'll give you a moment to choose what you would do, and then I'll reveal the correct answer, and I'll also explain why the other
We'll
options would have
probably
gotten you
pause it.
caught, cornered, or worse. Keep track of your score as you go along.
Okay, so we'll probably pause it when we have an answer or when we want to make an answer. Keep track of it. I'll just keep track of all the ones I get wrong, because I did that with the zombie one and I got like 4 wrong, I think. But the ones I did get wrong were like, oh, you know, you can still do this in this situation, so they were okay. So we'll see.
You get 1
see how we
point
go.
per correct answer. And at the end, I'll tell you if you would have escaped, or if you were just delaying the inevitable. So without
We'll see.
further ado, let's begin.
I feel like there's a lot riding on this. Like, I'm either going to die or, you know, I'll survive, so we'll see. Do
You
I
wake in
attempt
the
to
woods.
recreate
No memory
this?
of how you got here. Just a pounding head and the distant sound of birds. Your phone is gone. No bags. You're wearing clothes that aren't yours.
Okay, so I'm already concerned right now. I've got clothes that aren't mine, especially. That's like extra concerning. You'd probably check for like if anything's on you, like it's been wiretapped or something. If I don't know. That'd be a weird situation. No phone, no supplies, no tools. That's already a bad sign.
Or if they are yours, you don't recognize them. You check your
Okay.
surroundings. About 30 feet away, you see a boot print in the mud. It's deep, fresh, and facing toward you. Near
Okay, wait. Rewind that. You wake in the woods, no memory of how you got there. Okay. You check your surroundings, and about 30 feet away, you see a boot print in the mud, deep, fresh, facing towards you. Just a boot print?
Nearby, there's a broken branch at shoulder height, too clean to be damaged by wind. And then, you hear it.
What do I hear?
A distant snapping of twigs. Not casual, not aimless, deliberate. And that's when it hits you. Someone is tracking you.
How can you tell if twigs being snapped is deliberate? Like, what's the difference between random snapping of twigs and a deliberate snapping of twigs? What if they're deliberately doing it randomly?
And they know you're awake. You hear more movement.
Okay.
Not
they know I'm
close,
awake.
but not far. You have maybe 20 seconds before your last known position is compromised. The forest terrain around you is mixed. Pine needles, exposed rock, a creek downhill, and a nearby gravel trail. What do you do to first break the line of sight and begin evading? Option
Creek.
A, head
Creek
straight
is the
downhill
best
into the
answer.
creek and follow it downstream, walking into water.
Creek is the best answer because they say in survival situations that heading towards a creek or any form of water is the best option because it could lead to civilization, I believe. Something like follow a body of water and eventually it'll lead to a civilization. I don't know what the rule or why you do the rule, but the rule is to follow a creek. Plus, you get water. You need water. Exposed rock, I mean, you're not going to get anywhere. You could potentially hurt yourself with that. Pine needles, another situation where like that's like pretty pointless. And a nearby gravel trail, potentially a good idea, but at the same time, like even if it leads to civilization, you are potentially putting yourself in at some form of risk, really. Like yeah, civilization, but you're also being tracked.
Water. Option B,
That's
scramble
what I
uphill over rocky terrain to higher ground and observe from concealment. Option C, follow the gravel trail briefly, then veer off into brush and double back. And option D, use the pine needle ground to create distance silently, weaving through cover. So the correct answer here is option A, head straight downhill into the creek and follow it downstream, walking into water. So the reason this is the right answer is because walking into water is a classic evasion technique taught in SEER training to mask scent and footprints. It also makes directional tracking significantly harder, especially in shallow, moving creeks. Moving downhill also adds natural cover and speed, and water helps throw off both humans and dogs. Option B, scrambling uphill and observing, is not the best choice because even though you gain visibility, which is good for observing, it's not great for escaping as you move slower uphill and you also risk your silhouette being exposed. Option C, following the gravel trail briefly.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Your silhouette could just be there. Well, it's obviously depending on where the sun is a lot of the time, but like, yeah, if you're up there, they're probably going to see movement, and it's not going to be easy to get down.
And veering off into brush and doubling back is also wrong because trails are obvious and easy to track on, and doubling back risks
exactly what I said. It's easy to track.
Reinterception if anyone looking for you anticipates you'll try and evade them. Option D, using the pine needle ground to create distance, is not incorrect, but it's also not the best option here. So even though this is quiet, which is an advantage, it doesn't hide your trail or scent like water does.
Yeah, and the issue is that, like, you could get lost. You don't know your surroundings. So you don't have any form of, like, consistency with walking in the bush. Whereas when you're on a stream, you have that form of consistency of the stream.
So you've put some distance between you and the initial site. But then you remember something. Dogs. They don't just track by sight. If whoever is tracking you has a dog, you're leaving a trail with every step. You look around you and you have access to mud, a stagnant pool of water, and decaying vegetation nearby. What's your best option to reduce your scent trail?
Did we not just classify that being in water helps throw off dogs? So isn't this a no-brainer? You leave a trail with every step. Mud, a stagnant pool of water, a decaying vegetation. The water, right? Mud.
Option 1, cover your body in mud, especially hands, feet, and armpits to mask scent-emitting zones. Option 2, roll in decaying vegetation and stay downwind as much as possible. Option 3, use stagnant water to soak clothes and your skin and then move into higher elevation. Or option 4, alternate between dense brush and open rocky terrain to break scent continuity. So the correct answer here is option A, cover your body in mud.
Okay.
So the reason this is the right answer is because mud clogs pores, cools the body, and also creates a physical barrier over high odor areas such as your armpits, your groin, and your feet. It's one of the most accessible and effective ways to disrupt scent trails in short-term scenarios. Option B, rolling in decaying vegetation and staying downwind, is not the best answer because this might—
Doesn't that just put another scent on you? Decaying vegetation. If dogs or someone like picked up that smell, that's gonna stick with you. Like, if they know that's you, you're gone.
But it doesn't block your natural scent is not the best answer because this might add odor layering, but it doesn't block your natural scent. And this also just creates its own scent signature. Option C, using stagnant water to soak your clothes and skin, also isn't the best option because while it's true that cooling your body can briefly reduce sweat and slow the release of scent compounds, once the water evaporates, your natural odor returns. And stagnant water doesn't cling well enough to block it. Option D, alternating between dense brush and open rocky terrain, also isn't the best option because it doesn't disrupt your scent, just your visual trail. And you have to remember that dogs follow scent, not terrain patterns. So you cover your—
Yeah, that's true. Dogs don't care whether or not you're going over rocks or something, and even if you are going over rocks and trying to make it look confusing, it's probably because they think you're trying to throw them off, so it doesn't throw them off even more. Yeah, so I got that one wrong. It was either water or mud. I was thinking between the two. I chose water. I got it wrong.
Body in mud and you keep
That would
going.
have been my second guess.
You've now been moving steadily for over an hour.
Yeah.
But straight line movement is predictable. You need to find a way to break your pattern. How do you best throw off a train tracker following your path? Option A, walk backward along your own trail for 50 meters, then break off in a sharp angle. Option B, climb a tree and wait silently for 30 minutes, watching for movement before redirecting. Option C, make a false trail with broken branches leading towards a visible path, then divert silently. Or option D, circle around and cross your own trail at a perpendicular angle to confuse tracking.
Oh, that's hard. False trail? Is false trail the right answer? Walking backward along your trail for 50 meters, break off in a sharp angle. I mean, you don't know how close these guys are, and I don't really think that would throw off anybody. Climb a tree and wait silently for 30 minutes, watching the movement before redirecting. Okay, so let's say you climb a tree and you wait for the 30 minutes and then someone finds you. It's over, gang. Make a false trail with broken branches leading toward a visible path, then divert silently. But they're following... well, if the theory is that they're following, like dogs are following by smell, would they not even care? I don't think anyone's gonna care if you make like a visual path that's different. Circle around and cross your own trail at a perpendicular angle to confuse tracking. But do you really want to like cross up on your own trail? That's hard. It actually might be A or D. I'm gonna go... I'll go D. Because I think the false trail is like... You're giving them breadcrumbs, but if you're going with the assumption that they're smelling, then it's the same idea as like going through the rocks. You're not like actually throwing off these guys. You're not throwing them off. So I'm gonna go D. It's probably D or A.
So the correct answer here is option C, make a false trail
C.
with broken branches leading towards a visible path and then diverting silently.
What about the dogs?
So before I explain why this is the correct answer, I do have a disclaimer that yes, obviously a train tracker can recognize a false trail, but recognition still takes time. And they still have to check it before...
Oh wait, is this going with the assumption that I use the mud? Oh, so they can't smell you. Oh, well then I would have gone with C. Okay, that actually makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Okay. I thought this was going... Right. I forgot about the whole mud thing. Yeah. Okay, so I'm covered in mud while doing it. Okay, no. Can I redo my answer? I completely forgot about the mud.
Starting it.
Yeah. Okay,
out of your 4 options, this still creates the greatest delay with the least risk. By pushing a clear trail towards an obvious escape route and then breaking off, you're still buying yourself minutes for them to confirm. And evasion isn't about fooling them forever, it's about stacking small time advantages while you're out of reach.
Yeah.
Option A, walking backwards...
Which was exactly why you didn't want to loop up on your trails, which was why I was so confused. I was like, how are we going to be doing this? Right. Yeah, because you don't want to loop back in your trail and then they just immediately follow the new trail, because then you've just cut down more time.
And then breaking off in a sharp angle is not the best option because backward footprints are still detectable by weight distribution and drag marks. And this is too obvious to train trackers. Option B, climbing a tree and waiting, is also wrong because here you're stationary, not breaking your own trail pattern.
Exactly.
And if they see you have no exit. And option D, circling around and crossing your own trail at a perpendicular angle, is also not the best answer because while this adds complexity, it doesn't mislead. And you've still left one consistent trail behind you. The sun is now setting. You've evaded for several hours but need rest to think clearly tomorrow. You know the crucial rules. You cannot be seen, smelled, or heard. Where do you sleep tonight? Option A, in a low depression near a creek, covered in debris, close to a noise source like water. Option B, halfway up a slope under tree cover, inside a natural hollow or root cluster. Option C, high up in a tree, harnessed in or wedged between limbs with camouflage netting. Or option D, in an overhang or cave-like formation, deep enough to conceal but shallow enough for you to escape.
In a low depression near a creek covered in debris, close to a noise source like water. Cannot be seen, smelled, or heard. I think but in a low depression near a creek, I don't know. But you can't hear them. That's the issue as well. Like if you're down in the creek and someone's sneaking up on you because they know where you are, how are you gonna know? You won't. Halfway up a slope under tree cover. I mean, it could be reasonable, I guess. Not sure about that one. High up in a tree, harnessed or wedged. The only issue with the tree is that if they're still tracking you and you're up in the tree, this is the stationary thing. This is the problem. In an overhang or cave-like formation. The only reason you wouldn't go near the cave is because there could just be natural predators. Like, I don't know what's out there. There could be bears. There could just be like random bears running around. Yeah, no. D is a definite no. Halfway up a slope. Let's. I think it's A or B. I'm under tree cover. I'm gonna go A. I'm feeling A for this one.
So the correct answer here is option B, halfway up a slope under tree cover inside a natural hollow or a root cluster. So the reason this is the right answer is because this location avoids skyline exposure, flood zones, and cold air pooling. Root clusters and exits provide concealment and also quick exit points. And that makes it ideal for stealthy rest in evasion scenarios.
Okay.
Option A, sleeping in a depression close to water, is not the best option because water attracts humans and animals. And cold air sinks to low points, which increases your risk of hypothermia. Option C, sleeping high up in a tree, is also wrong because sleeping in trees is extremely dangerous without equipment and it makes you...
I did not think of the hypothermia problem. Yeah, that one's... Yeah, I didn't know about that. So we're not looking good.
Visible if the trackers are scanning upward. Option D, sleeping in an overhang or a cave-like formation, is also not the best option because those places trap scent, amplify sound, and they reduce your exit options, making it way too risky if you're discovered.
Okay.
On your second day, you find a hunter's bait station. There's a pile of cracked corn and trail cam bait nearby. You're starving, but you know that taking food means risk. This area could be checked regularly. What do you do? Option A, take a small handful and then destroy any evidence that you were there, including footprints. Option B, leave it. Option C, set up a false camp nearby using disturbed materials to imply you slept there. Or option D, wait until dusk, then approach from a downwind direction, minimizing contact.
Okay. A hunter's bait station? I'm not very familiar about like hunting stuff. Cracked corn and trail cam bait. I don't even know what any of this is. Well, cracked corn, but trail cam. What's trail cam bait? I don't know what that is. Take a small handful and destroy any evidence you were there, including footprints. How do you destroy footprints as evidence? Like you just smudge it? But wouldn't that be Wouldn't that be creating more evidence that you were there in the first place? I don't know. Setting up a false camp, that seems like that's a lot of time. I don't think that's a wise idea. Wait until dusk and approach from a downwind direction, minimizing contact. I think D is a good option, because I know downwind direction removes
So the correct
your
answer
scent.
here is option B, to leave it. So the reason this is the right answer is because hunger is manageable, but being detected is not. SEER principles prioritize evasion over comfort. Bait stations are high-risk zones, and they're often monitored with...
I can't believe I ignored B. For some reason, I just thought I had to approach this thing in a different way. I didn't even think about the fact that you could just leave it alone. Man, I
trail
suck at
cams
this
or
one.
scent markers. Option A, taking a small
wait, I'm gonna
handful and
lock
then
into
destroying
this.
evidence isn't worth the risk because even minimal contact leaves scent and trace. And option C, setting up a false camp nearby is also wrong because this is overcomplicated and it leaves more trace than it misleads, and you don't want to simulate your presence there. Option D, waiting until dusk and then approaching from a downward direction is also not a good idea because dusk is a common time for humans and animals to check bait. So it
Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Okay. Thanks.
actually increases your risk of running into someone. Before this video
Shoot.
continues, I need to tell you about today's sponsor, Squarespace.
Squarespace. We love Squarespace.
What do you do to reduce your
Shout out
risk of
Squarespace.
hypothermia while staying hidden?
Shout out Squarespace. Shout out Squarespace. Okay, so the temperature has dropped suddenly, rain is rolling in, you're soaked, tired, and starting to shiver. You have no dry gear and no fire starter. Okay, from here on out, I'm getting every single question correct because I've just been lucky that I've survived so far.
Option A, find a pine tree with low-hanging limbs, crawl underneath, and insulate with debris. Option B, strip off wet clothes and do vigorous exercise until dry. Option C, curl into a ball near a rock face to conserve body heat. Or option D, dig a trench, cover yourself with leaves, and lie still.
It's either A or D. Find a pine tree with low-hanging limbs, crawl underneath, and insulate yourself with debris. Does that work? I don't know if that works. Dig a trench, cover yourself with leaves, and lie still. I'm thinking debris only because the leaves are probably going to be soaking wet, and the soil's just not going to be good. Because it's going to be like wet soil, isn't it? But then again, it's going to be wet debris, isn't it? I'd say the debris would probably be better than covering yourself with leaves. Stripping yourselves off and doing exercise, that's horrible because you don't have food. I don't think you have water either. Just a horrible idea to be doing that. You're going to get exhausted real quick. That's dumb. Curl into a bowl near a curl into a ball near a rock face to conserve body heat. I mean, near a rock face. Do you have shelter? Are you supported in any way? Or are you just curling into a ball? You might as well just curl into a ball on the ground. I think A is the best option for this one.
So the correct answer here is option A, find a pine tree, crawl underneath,
right.
and
That's
insulate
right.
yourself
We're on
with
a roll.
debris. So the reason this is the right answer is because coniferous trees provide natural cover from both rain and wind, and the ground beneath these trees is usually drier. Debris insulation like leaves and pine needles also creates a barrier against conducive
And pine trees have pine cones, which are very flammable, very useful, very powerful.
heat loss, and this method is taught in survival training as an emergency shelter fallback. Option B, stripping and exercising, is wrong and also a dangerous myth. While it's true that wet clothes are bad, exertion actually accelerates heat loss once fatigue hits. Option C, curling near a rock face, is also wrong
That's what I said as well.
because rock faces are heat sinks, and unless the sun's been on it all day, it'll suck your body heat. Option D, digging a trench,
didn't
is
even know
also
that.
not the best option because it burns too much energy while you're already cold. Lying
I didn't even think about that aspect either. Yeah, the amount of energy conservation you would have is not good.
still is also bad as it's passive cooling while you're already not well insulated. You stumble
Yes,
across an
true.
abandoned campsite. There's an
Okay.
empty pack, a jacket, and a ball cap with a logo. You suspect you're near civilization, or being pushed towards it. What's the best thing to do with this gear? Option A, take the clothes and wear them to appear more like a local hiker. Option B, search the area for more supplies before deciding what to do. Option C, use the pack to create a decoy trail heading in the opposite direction. Or option D, booby trap the site to slow your pursuer and gauge their presence.
Okay. I don't know why you would do that. I don't think it really matters what you're looking like. You're being tracked, not judged for your looks, so I don't think A is a good option. Search the area for more supplies before deciding what to do. That's a pretty safe option, except for the fact that you are stalling. Time sensitivity is definitely a key here. Use the pack to create a decoy trail heading in the opposite direction. How? How would you do that? How would you be using the pack? Like, just shoving the jacket somewhere on a bush. Like, if they're an experienced tracker, they're not going to fall for that. It's the same thing with the diversion. You're only like delaying a small amount of time. Booby trapping the site is such a bad idea because, like, why would you do that? The amount of time it takes to set up a trap. You don't even, what trap are you setting up with an empty jacket, a ball and a ball cap? Like, what setup? Search the area for more supplies. I feel like B. That's a pretty safe option, isn't it?
So the correct answer here is option C. Use the pack to create a decoy trail heading in the opposite direction.
Really?
So this is the best option out of the four, even though obviously a trained tracker won't be completely fooled by a planted pack trail.
Yeah.
They'll eventually recognize the signs. But the point here isn't to permanently deceive them, it's to buy time. A pack, especially if it scuffs brush or leaves a clear impression, creates a believable vector.
Okay, I suppose B could be wrong because you are just like, but you're not stalling for time exactly. You're trying to find more resources, but I guess time is so precious that you shouldn't be finding more resources. That's the whole point. You should be getting away and distancing yourself. But then I think that creating that trap is like the same problem. Like, how long are you spending going for resources? How long are you spending like making this like diversion trail? If anything, I would just take the stuff and keep going.
It demands at least a quick check from the tracker, and that pause gives you enough space to double back, change terrain, or gain distance. In evasion, even a 5-minute delay can reset the chase. Option A, wearing unknown clothes, is wrong because this adds risk. The scent signature is unknown and you could be mistaken for someone else if spotted. Option B, searching the area, also adds risk without urgency, because if it's a trap, you're already exposed.
Oh yeah, taking the clothes was an option, wasn't it? Ooh, that was an option. No, that said wear them. I'm not going to wear them. So just take it in case. Like, you could probably use the items for something else. It's a cap and a jacket. The jacket you could probably wear. But adds scent signature. Could be mistaken for someone else. But does that matter? I don't get how that matters. Oh my god, I don't get it.
By staying still. And you don't need more gear here, you need distance. And option D, buoy trapping, is bad because it's basically movie logic.
That's a horrible idea.
It's easily traceable and just escalates risk. It's the late afternoon and you smell smoke. There's no wind and the scent is strong. Could be fire, could be human, could be your pursuer cooking. What do? Option A, observe slowly from downwind and observe from a distance. Option B, immediately divert course to put at least 2 kilometers between you and the smoke. Option C, use the smoke as a landmark to calibrate your bearings. Or option D, leave a subtle false trail towards the smoke and then divert hard left.
Could you not do all 3 of these? Oh, actually, you could do all 4 of these. You could approach slowly, then you leave a subtle false trail, use the landmark to calibrate your bearings, and then divert. I would say B. I feel like B is probably the best option. To calibrate your bearings. What does it mean by use the smoke as a landmark? Because I feel like if you're looking at it from a distance and you want to like get 2 kilometers between you and the smoke, you're already using it as a landmark. You're just distancing yourself from it. So I'd say C, you're automatically doing no matter what you do. Because it's like, leave a false trail towards the smoke, then divert hard left. You are using the smoke as a landmark for that. So I feel like C is just implied with the other 3. I think B.
So the correct answer here is option A, approach slowly from downwind and observe from a distance. So the reason this is the right answer is because downwind movement ensures your scent won't carry, and observing from afar gives you intel without committing. Getting visual confirmation is safer than assuming, and you don't know if it's civilians, a fire hazard, or even safety.
But what if it's danger? What if it's bad? What if it's some random guy with a gun and he shoots you? Is that worth doing? I don't know. I haven't been out in the woods and never done this.
Either way, information here is better than blind avoidance. Option B, immediately diverting course, is not wrong here, but it's also strategically inferior. And that's a meaningful distinction.
Guys,
it won't
I'm
get you caught
strategically
right now,
inferior.
but it costs you valuable information and resources, and it undermines your long-term chances of survival. Because here, you might be wasting energy and daylight without learning anything about the threat. And you could even be running from help, such as a civilian camp, ranger station, or even rescue. In real survival training, blind avoidance is discouraged because in survival, ignorance can be more dangerous than proximity. Option C is wrong because using it as a landmark doesn't help you if you don't know what it is, and option D is also not the right answer because false trails only work if you know what you're misdirecting them away from. So this adds complexity without information. So you approach slowly, and through the trees, you spot it. Not a wildfire, not a roaring blaze, just a thin, steady column. Controlled. Someone's fire. Small enough for cooking. Whoever built it knew what they were doing. You hold your breath, scanning for movement. And that's when you hear it, rustling. It's heavy, human. From the brush, a man with a rifle steps into view, 30 meters away. He hasn't seen you yet. There's a tree behind you and a gully to your left. There's no time to think. What do? Option A, drop flat and crawl towards the gully under cover. Option B, stay perfectly still and wait until he passes. Option C, move behind the tree and assess from partial cover. Or option D, toss a rock in the opposite direction and flee while he's distracted.
Oh, that's tough. That's a tough one. Move behind the tree and assess from partial cover. I don't think that's a good idea. Stay perfectly still. Again, not a good idea. He could just turn around and be like, oh, hello, how are you? Drop flat and crawl. That'll make way too much noise. I think D is your safest option, even though I don't really want to do it, but like, what other choice do you have? Drop flat and crawl toward the gully under cover? I don't think crawling is a good option. I think that's way too obvious. That's like you crawling. That's gonna make sound. They are 30 meters away. I didn't think about that actually. They're pretty far distance. I also don't know what time it is either. Like if it's nighttime or something. Did it say? I don't remember. This is tough. Toss a rock in the opposite direction and flee while he's distracted. I don't think that's a good idea. I think C?
So the correct answer here is option B. Stay completely still and blend into the cover. So the reason this is the right answer is because movement draws the human eye faster than anything else. If he hasn't seen you yet, your best option is to remain absolutely still in a natural position. Unless he's using thermal imaging, stillness in shadows or foliage is often more effective than trying to scramble for cover after you've already...
I feel like I need a visual for what this looks like, because I don't even remember if it was night or day, right? If it's the middle of the day and you're standing in between two trees, and what is he looking like? Is he going to see you in peripheral vision? If he's turned around and he's 30 meters away from you, duck behind a tree. There is no reason why you would be in the open. I don't understand. I don't...
Been spotted. SEER training emphasizes that the less you move, the harder it is to separate you from the background. Option A, crawling away, might feel safer because you're lowering your profile, but
you're losing vision. You don't know where they are as soon as you duck to the ground.
Creates noise and movement at ground level, like...
Noise, but he's 30 meters away, bro. How How supersonic is this hearing? 30 meters. That's not a short distance. Is it really that loud? What leaves are you on? Are you on bark? Are you on... I feel like there's not enough detail in what the scenario actually is.
Rustling leaves, snapping twigs, and shifting brush. If he's scanning, that subtle motion is exactly what'll give you away, and you're better off being motionless and blending into the environment than risking the sound and...
If he's looking your way, like, I'd be frozen. There's, like, I would not move at all. But if he's turned away, first chance I am getting, I'm moving into a place where I can't be seen at all.
Movement of a slow retreat. Option C, bolting to the tree, might seem like a quick fix for cover, but lateral or sudden movement is also one of the easiest things for people to notice. Even if the tree shields you once you reach it, the movement getting there will almost guarantee he sees you.
Did it say that he was looking our way? Am I going insane? Hold on. Hold up. He hasn't seen you yet. So it doesn't actually say that he's looking in your direction. It just says
the
that
less
he's
you
there.
miss, what'll give you away. Slow retreat. Option also one of the easiest things for people to notice.
Okay.
Even if the tree shields you once you reach it, the movement getting there will almost guarantee he sees you. In evasion, moving late is often far more dangerous than not moving at all. And option D, tossing an object to make a distraction, can work in some contexts, but it's extremely risky. If the man is cautious, and anyone moving with a rifle in the woods usually is, he won't dismiss the noise. He'll become more alert and start actively scanning for what caused it. In survival training, this is called a stimulus search. Once someone is triggered, they look harder, not less. A false distraction when you're already undetected often just puts a spotlight on the area you're in. So you freeze,
that's true.
every muscle locked, while the man scans the tree line. Seconds feel like minutes. Finally, he shifts direction, adjusting his rifle, and he drifts back into the brush. You wait, long after he's gone, until the woods settle again. No sound, but the steady pulse of your heartbeat. Before this video continues, I just want to let you know if you want to get a digital copy of this quiz, you want it also in the description. When you move on, the terrain betrays you. The tree's thin, the cover breaks. Ahead is a wide open field. No trees, no foliage, and no natural cover. The fastest way through is straight across, but fields are natural kill zones. If anyone is watching from the tree line, you'll be a silhouette with nowhere to hide. But you also can't stay here. You have to cross. But how? Option A, sprint across immediately in a straight line, speed over stealth.
Risky.
Option B, stay low and crawl quickly along the edge, using grass and terrain dips for concealment. Option C, cut a wide arc across the field, staying in the tree line even if it costs time. Or option D, move in short crouched bursts, freezing every few steps to scan for movement.
Move in short crouched. But okay, so A and D do not seem like the smart answers, because moving in short crouched bursts, like you're still causing, like you're still in the middle of a field. You're going to be seen even if you're stopped. So not a good idea. Sprinting? I mean, if they're a good shot, you're kind of gone. Yeah, not a good idea. Stay low and crawl quickly along the edge, using grass and terrain dips for concealment. I'd say B.
So the correct answer here is option C, cut a wide arc across the field, staying in the tree line even if it costs you time. So the reason this is the right answer is because in evasion, cover is almost always worth it.
Guys, I think I'm gonna be honest. I'm dead. Like, I'm very dead in this scenario. I've gotten like all of them wrong, and I did really well in the zombie apocalypse one. Like it said I was in the second best group. It said I was gonna survive and be fine, but this hunting one is dangerous. I'm kind of stuffed, I'm not gonna lie.
The detour. A wide arc keeps you inside concealment and also denies the hunter an easy silhouette to spot. It's true that this burns more time and energy than the other options, but speed means nothing if you're visible in open ground. Real seer doctrine emphasizes that terrain is essential, and avoiding exposure beats gambling on speed. Option A, sprinting straight across, is the wrong answer because even though this feels decisive, It's exactly what a pursuer expects. One glance from the tree line and you're done. Option B, crawling along the edge might feel safer, but edges are also natural funnels, and hunters scan them first. If you do this, you'd still be pinned against open ground with no retreat. And option D, moving in crouch bursts, is also wrong because this just creates jerky, visible movement, and humans are wired to detect motion. And the idea of moving in a zigzag pattern is only designed for dodging bullets which are already fired, not for staying unseen. So you stay along the tree line, and slowly, agonizingly slowly, you make it past the field. But you've been moving for hours now and you're running out of water. Fast. And you find a muddy stream. Still, brownish, but not stagnant.
Leave
You
it.
have no
Don't touch
purification
it.
tablets.
No.
No boiling gear. Just your shirt.
No.
What do you do to rehydrate safely enough to keep moving? Option A, drink directly from the stream because dehydration is the greater risk here. Option B, filter water through your shirt into a bottle and drink it. Option C, dig a hole next to the stream to let the filter water seep in and then drink that. Or option D, push on without drinking and ration your remaining water, hoping to reach a better source before you collapse.
D. I don't think. It's probably like filter it so the water is still. Still brownish? I don't think that's worth, man. I think it's D.
So the correct option here is option C, dig a hole next to the
I
stream to
was
let
not gonna guess that. What? Dig a hole next to the stream to let filtered water seep in? What is this survival tactic?
filtered water seep through and then drink that. So the reason this is the right answer is because this lets ground sediment filter the water before it reaches your container. It doesn't remove microbes, but it's safer than direct consumption, and it can make the difference between debilitating illness and staying functional. Option A,
Okay.
drinking directly, is the
Dig
wrong
a
answer
hole.
because untreated water almost always carries parasites and microbes. You might get lucky once, but more often than not, this means violent illness within.
And that is exactly why I didn't want to touch the water in the first place. Now, I understand the risk that comes with leaving it completely, but like could be bad water. I think with the knowledge that I had, so digging a hole and letting filter water seep through is known as a technique. It is a known technique that lets ground sediment filter the water before it reaches your container. Interesting fact. I didn't know this. It doesn't remove microbes, but it's safer than direct consumption. So dig a hole next to the stream and let the filtered water seep in. Wow.
Hours,
Okay.
diarrhea,
I don't know what
cramps,
that exactly
dehydration.
looks like.
Option B,
but
shirt filtering, is
interesting.
also wrong because this only removes debris, not bacteria. And option D, rationing your water, is not the best answer because this only works if you know a safer source lies ahead. In this scenario, that knowledge isn't guaranteed. Betting on it risks collapse before you ever find it.
You're right. You're 100% right. But what other choice do you have, I guess? Well, you have this choice, but I didn't know about this choice.
Hear human voices up ahead. One male, one female. Close enough to catch the words, but not close enough to see. The man says, "He couldn't have gone far." And the woman replies, "Then spread out." How do you respond to this threat? Option A, freeze and silently listen to gauge numbers and distance. Option B, immediately backtrack and take a wide arc around them. Option C, make noise in the opposite direction to bait them away. Or option D, climb a tree or rise to observe them without being seen.
Oh, tough. C or D? That's hard. Because if you freeze and gauge numbers, like you're staying still. That's the more time you stay still, the worse it gets. Immediately backtrack and take a wide arc around them. But they just said spread out. Like that's kind of dangerous, is it not? Make noise in the opposite direction and bait them away. How are you going to make noise? Like, they don't... This is like going on to that hunter thing. They said they don't know you're there. So why would you create noise? So climb a tree has to be the best option, right? But that's also a potential like freeze. But you are in a tree, but at the same time, it's like if you get caught, you're gone. I don't know. I don't know. Tree or rise to observe them without being seen. It does specify it is without being seen. Immediately backtrack and take a wide arc around them. Is it B? Like, just leaving, getting out of there, and going? I'm gonna go B.
So the correct answer here is option A, freeze and listen silently to
Really?
gauge numbers and distance. So the reason this is the right answer is because stillness is your least detectable state. Seer training
yeah,
emphasizes information before movement. By listening, you confirm at least 2 pursuers, their intent, and the fact that they're actively tracking. You also learn spacing. They're splitting up, which means you can predict their search grid and avoid blundering in.
But what if they space towards you? You can hear them. Keep that in mind. You can hear them. If they're coming towards you, what do you do? What do you do then?
To it. Option B, backtracking, is the wrong option because while this feels safe, it's also noisy and blind. You could stumble right into the flank of their search pattern. Option C, noisemaking, is also wrong because this only escalates the chase, and you turn evasion into a manhunt. Option D, climbing a tree, is also not the right answer because while this gives you visibility, it also traps you if they move underneath, and dry branches can give you away. So you stay frozen, counting the seconds until the voices drift away. When you move again, you notice something small. A cigarette butt. Still damp, but not washed out by the rain. Someone's been here recently. Close enough that you can't tell if they're ahead of you or circling back. And
This is where you start a fire. This is where you burn the entire fucking forest down. It's all gotta go.
even though the voices fade, your unease doesn't. You glance down, and you notice the mud clinging to your boots. Every step behind you is stamped clear as a trail sign. If they were close enough to hear, they were also close enough to see this. How do you break your trail most effectively now? Option A, start walking on rocks and fallen
Dude, I'm so dead, man.
logs only. Option B, use large leaves or cloth to brush away prints as you go. Option C, cover your prints with dirt and pine needles every few steps. Or option D, double back and cross your own trail at an angle.
Doubling back's a bad option. Start walking on rocks and fallen logs only. Not a good option because the mud is still there. Use large leaves or cloth to brush away prints as you go. Cover prints with dirt and pine needles. I'd say C.
And then shift terrain.
C is probably the safest one, right?
So the correct answer here is option D, double back and cross your own trail at an
I give up, bro. Why is it the ones that I say are the least smart are the ones that are double back and cross your own? What doesn't this just track? Didn't they say that they track you
angle
from
and then
this?
shift terrain. So the reason this is the right answer is that even though this might seem at odds with earlier advice about building false trails,
Yeah, you're right. It does.
the difference here is distance. When you had space, a false trail was useful because it bought you time, and the tracker would burn minutes chasing a decoy while you were able to slip away. Here, though, the hunters are close enough that hesitation might mean capture. So you can't afford theatrics. You need an immediate break in your trail that forces them to stop and rethink. Doubling back in an angle does exactly that. It cuts the rhythm and it also erases the arrow of your direction. In seer training, that kind of sharp displacement is how you shake pursuit when time is short.
Bro, I'm so cooked. Bro, it's so over. I've got like 2 correct.
Option A, walking on rock or logs, is not the best option because this is only good if you haven't already left a trail. This doesn't erase what's behind you. Option B, brushing, is not completely wrong, but it's not the best answer because it's time consuming and leaves more signs of human activity. While brushing does erase prints at least superficially, it's not the best choice because it creates a different kind of trail, such as uniform swipes, broken vegetation, or unnatural leaf scatter. A
Okay, well,
train
that's-
tracker will notice.
That's what I thought as well. Like, it creates those different weird marks. But what about the mud? The mud.
The brush marks as a bigger sign than the footprints. It's also, most importantly here, slow, and again, time is exposure. And option C, covering prints, is not the right answer
this
because
one.
it's tedious and rarely foolproof, especially to train trackers.
So they're just immune to it. Is that what you're trying to say? They're just immune to the footprints. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Unlike brushing, which could fool someone temporarily, covering with debris is a classic mistake. It signals that you're trying to hide something.
Classic.
And to a tracker,
Classic.
that's better than footprints.
Ha! You idiot! You tried to cover it up with mud, bro. I mean, like, covering it up with mud. Just smudge like the ground. What are you covering it? What, are you trying to make a mound or something? What are we talking about as far as a cover up? Okay.
So you double back and cross your own trail at an angle. You cover some ground, but paranoia lingers.
Okay.
There are prints this clear here, then there are prints this clear everywhere. You keep moving, watching every step, until the trees thin and you catch sight of it. A small cabin, tucked back in the clearing. A steady thread of smoke rising from its chimney. Shelter. Maybe safety. Or maybe exactly the kind of place someone like you would stumble across.
Yeah.
What's the safest course of action here? Option A, approach cautiously, knock, and ask for help.
Bad move. Don't
Option
knock,
B,
don't ask
circle
for help.
wide, observe silently from cover, and look for signs of who's inside. Option C,
Pretty
break in
clever.
after dark and take supplies, leaving quickly.
You
Or
don't know
option
what's
D,
going on
leave
there.
immediately.
I think B. I think I'm
So the
going
correct
B.
answer here is option B, circle wide and observe silently.
That's our third one, baby. That's right. We're surviving this entire thing.
The reason this is the right answer is because information beats impulse. Approaching blindly could risk
That's
you
what I
walking
said.
into
That's what
your
I said back in
pursuer
the
or
Scouts.
hostile strangers. Observation from distance lets you
That's what I said back in the Scouts. Information beats impulse. That's right. I knew it all along.
assess without exposure. And that's why
This is the
option A is
easiest
wrong,
quiz
because
ever.
asking for help exposes you immediately and there's no guarantee here that it's friendly. Option C is also not right because breaking in escalates risk. If it's occupied, you've cornered yourself. Option D, leaving immediately, is not wrong, but it's also not the best option. This is because
There was someone behind her walking. I'd be very alert at that moment.
being careful around structures is absolutely correct. It's absolutely valid. In Seer, cabins, vehicles, and roads are treated as high-risk zones because they're natural choke points. If you're truly exhausted or paranoid, leaving could save you from walking into an ambush. And avoidance is definitely better than a reckless approach. But it's not
Yep.
optimal in this scenario because leaving gives up the chance to gather information. You don't know who is in the cabin or whether it's even occupied. Observation
true.
from cover gives you intel without commitment, and that's better than walking away blind. By skipping reconnaissance, you might miss supplies, an empty shelter, or clues about your pursuer. If you keep blindly moving away from every potential source of information, such as cabins, smoke, or voices, you'll just wander until exhaustion, dehydration, or exposure gets you. Evasion isn't just about hiding, it's also about managing risk while gathering information. So you circle wide,
Couldn't have said it better myself.
watching. You see smoke, but no movement. There's a pile of wood stacked neat and tools by the wall. Whoever was here, they're not here now. So you wait a bit longer, but still nothing. The smoke thins. The cabin is empty. Relief should follow, but it doesn't. If someone built this fire and left it burning, they expect to come back. So you slip away, carrying the thought with you. Sometimes the most dangerous sign isn't presence. It's absence. By the time you've put distance between yourself and the cabin, exhaustion drags at every step. Your thoughts keep stuttering, catching on the image of the fire burning with no one to tend to it. Stopping to rest feels like an even bigger gamble now, but pushing forward
Yeah, because you technically just made this massive gamble that you stopped, waited for ages for this fire to burn out, and then realized nobody's in the cabin. When we still don't even have a guarantee that somebody isn't in the cabin. Just because we haven't seen or heard anything doesn't mean that someone's not there. They could just be sleeping. Like, I would still say it's a big risk to even be near that cabin, to be honest. But now that you've sat there for ages and now you're making distance, like, leaving immediately was in hindsight the better option. Even though technically, like, overall, you've made a more calculated decision by keeping watch and, like, making sure that nobody's there. You haven't taken advantage of it. So leaving immediately, even though it was like an okay decision, it was actually the better decision in this situation, right?
half awake guarantees mistakes. You find a dry pocket under foliage. no fire, no insulation, just enough cover to sit and decide. How do you maximize safety and recovery during a short sleep? Option A, force yourself to stay awake until sunrise. Sleep only when daylight makes you feel safer.
No.
Option B, sleep sitting upright with your back against a tree. Option C, bury yourself partially in dry debris for warmth and sleep deeply. Or option D, take multiple micro naps of 5 to 10 minutes while staying in the same concealed spot.
Okay, so I don't know a lot about sleep and the REM cycle and all that. I'm going to say right now, D is actually probably a good option, because I think when you're driving and like they say you're getting tired on the road, they say to drive to the side of the road and then just like have a quick nap. I think there's probably like a micro naps are probably like a really viable thing that you can do. I definitely know that I've had moments where I've fallen in and out of like consciousness while trying to sleep, and like I've gotten really rejuvenated from it, even though in reality I've only slept for like 10 minutes. So I'd say D is actually a pretty solid option.
So the correct answer here is option B, sleep sitting upright with your back against a tree. So the reason this is the right answer is because sitting upright keeps your position neutral and your senses half on. If someone closes in, you'll hear it or feel it faster than if you were lying down. In evasion scenarios, you don't get to collapse.
So why can't you just do that while doing the micronap? I did the micronaps upright. You do them in the car upright. I don't think you're going in the back sleeping. I don't see how you couldn't do both. Maybe you can't do both? Okay.
You rest with awareness because you're not alone out here. Option A, staying awake till sunrise, is the wrong answer because while this might feel safer, fatigue ruins your judgment, and that's when trackers catch you, when you're stumbling, noisy, and careless. Option C, sleeping buried in debris, is also wrong because while it's warm, you're also entombed. If someone walks close, you won't surface in time. Option D, micronaps, is also wrong because while this might sound clever, it's actually worse than just resting upright. Because micronaps yank your brain in and out of shutdown without ever letting you stabilize. Instead of recovery, you just build up fog and disorientation. In evasion, the goal isn't to have...
Damn, my sleep has been wrong this entire time. Really? I remember going on a trip and then feeling like really rejuvenated from like micronaps, so... Huh. Why is micronaps bad? Okay. Interesting. Wow. You learn something new every day. So why do they tell you to do that when you are like feeling exhausted while driving? Is it a different thing, or? That's weird.
Lots of broken little sleeps, but rather it's about staying in shallow, continuous rest where you can jolt awake naturally to real-world cues. Upright posture gives you that balance, where you can recover properly without fully collapsing. So you force yourself into shallow rest. Upright, back braced against a tree. When dawn comes, you've bought a few hours of shaky function, but your body is colder for it. Your muscles are stiff, your clothes are still damp, and every joint is shivering. The cold gnaws with every step. By now, your hands are numb. Your body's losing heat, and the idea of a flame feels less like temptation and more like survival. But you know what fire means out here. If you light one, you're not just warming yourself. You're answering back. What's the smartest way to manage warmth in this situation? Option A, build a small fire in a dugout pit, feeding it only damp wood to minimize flame. Option B, skip the fire entirely and insulate yourself under layers of leaves and debris. Option C, build a fire, but on a ridgeline where smoke can disperse quickly. Or option D, make a fire at dusk, and then move camp once it burns low.
Oh, tough. Okay, so it's saying that a fire is survival. So I think B is sort of like a trick. It's saying like you need to build a fire to survive. You are freezing. Because we've already done debris, we've already done leaves. And that hasn't worked. So I'd say C. Building it on a ridgeline where smoke can disperse is probably the best option. Because if you're building fire in a dugout pit, that seems okay in theory, but like, where's the smoke going? It's not like that's going to go away. That's going to signal everything. Make a fire at dusk, then move camp once it burns low. But at dusk, that's at night, so fire is a big light. You're going to see that from miles away. So C.
So the correct answer here is option B. Skip the
Of course it's B. Of course. You hide in the debris that didn't work before. Yeah. What? Didn't it not work? Okay.
fire entirely and insulate yourself under layers of leaves and debris. So the reason this is the right answer is because leaves, debris, and natural insulation keeps you alive without declaring your location. You might be uncomfortable, but you're not at risk of hypothermia yet. Lighting a fire after seeing smoke nearby.
I thought we just said it was a state of survival. Less time. Okay, the idea of lighting a fire is feeling less and less like temptation and more like survival. I thought we were painting the picture that like you are hypothermic. You're gonna die if you don't light this fire.
Isn't just risky.
Okay.
It's answering a signal that you don't control. Okay. Option A, making a pit fire, is not the best option because while this might work in true hypothermia
Look, so long as I get the second best answer for these, I'm happy.
Heavy. If someone is scanning for heat or scent, you've given them a beacon. Option C, making a ridgeline fire, is just wrong though, because flames on ridges creates silhouettes for miles and it completely broadcasts where you are.
Oh, does it? I didn't know that.
Option D, making a fire at dusk and then moving when it burns low, might be tempting, but this is also not the best answer because fire leaves behind ash, smell, and it also disturbs the soil. A hunter only needs one of those crumbs to close the gap. So you skip the fire
problem
and you insulate. And you're still cold, but at least you make it through the night. And the forest is silent. No flame, no signal. You shiver until the gray light bleeds into the canopy. And it's morning, and you start moving again. But every step is stiff, half numb. The forest looks the same, but you feel terrible. And then the brush catches your shin. A snare line. Crude, but deliberate. How do you respond to finding this trap? Option A, step over it carefully and keep moving. Don't touch it. Option B, disable the snare quietly and then reset it sloppily as a sign someone interfered. Option C, use the snare's materials to set a diversion.
Why would you do B? What is there some sort of strategy that I'm not familiar with? Disable the snare quietly, then reset it sloppily as a sign. Why would you reset it as a sign that somebody interfered? Like, what mind game is that?
Elsewhere. Or option D, circle back and take a wide detour around this area.
I think see, circling back is probably like not a good option just because you don't want to just take a long time doing it. But stepping over it could be like its own potential danger of like, see, this is the thing. Do we know what it's connected to? Do we know how big the snare line is? Like, what do we know about the snare line? And we're clearly exhausted. Can we circle back and detour the area? I feel like I'm asking really good questions and like have a logical through line with all of it, but I keep getting every answer wrong. Disable the snare quickly and reset it. That's terrible. If that is the answer, I'm going to cry. Use the snare's materials to set a diversion elsewhere. I think it's A or D. I'm going to go A.
So the correct answer here is option A. Step over it carefully and keep moving.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
That's right.
The reason this is the right answer is because the safest option here is to bypass without a trace. Tampering just advertises your presence here and it wastes time. In hostile terrain,
exactly.
Snares
Why
aren't
would you
just
do
for
that?
Animals. They're tripwires for awareness. Avoiding them cleanly denies the hunter confirmation that you were ever here. Option B, resetting, is wrong because it tells the tracker that someone is behind them and you've also just revealed yourself with no benefit.
Exactly.
Option C, reusing materials, is also not the best option because this costs precious minutes. The hunter's already proven they're deliberate. You can't out-trap them. And option D, taking a wide detour, is not strictly wrong, but it's wasteful. Detours burn daylight
That's
and
what
calories.
I said. It's taken too much time. You're wasting all your time when you circle back. That's a bad idea.
Traps are planted across the area, you'll only stumble into another. A clean bypass here is the optimal option, so you limp onward. And you keep moving till the clouds rip open. And rain hammers the ground. It turns the soil to slurry, and the forest erupts in noise. You feel relief as you see your trail dissolving, and you know your scent is also scattering. But paranoia still lingers. If they're close, they don't need tracks. They don't need sound. The rain hides you, but it hides them as well. How should you use this storm to your advantage? Option A, push hard to cover maximum distance while the rain masks your movement. Option B, stay put and conceal yourself. And
Honestly,
let the rain...
A is already looking pretty good. Like, I was already thinking run. Just trying to get as much distance as possible. Because, like, in theory, you could cut off the connection entirely, right? Stay put and conceal yourself, let the rain wash away your immediate trail. No, that's not good, because if they're really close to you, the entire idea is that they could be really close to you.
And wash away your immediate trail. Option C, use the noise cover to set decoy signs leading in another direction. Or option D, move uphill, using runoff streams to hide your scent and passage.
Move uphill? Why would you move uphill? What's actually a good idea in terms of a survival scenario? Is moving uphill or downhill actually better? I don't think moving uphill is a good idea. Right? Like, what reason would you have for moving uphill? Like a vantage point to see out, but then you have to go downhill again. But I think there is like a survival situation where that's like actually necessary. Stay put and conceal yourself. Let the rain wash away your immediate trail. That's a terrible idea. Use the noise to cover up. I think move uphill is actually the answer. I'm going to go uphill.
So the correct answer here is option A, push hard to cover
was
maximum
A.
distance while the
Okay.
rain masks your movement. So the reason this is the right answer is
Wasn't there,
because rain
wasn't there a survival thing that said like moving uphill is actually the correct
isn't just cover, it's your
decision to
only
make, or
window
was that
against
moving
someone who's
downhill?
anticipating your moves. Every track is smeared away in the rain. Moving hard now forces the hunter to recalculate from scratch, breaking whatever pattern they think you're on. Option B, stay
I should have just stuck with A, to be honest. I was going like I just sounded like, so it sounded like it was such a good idea that it couldn't be the right answer.
put is wrong because the storm erases your immediate trail, but it doesn't reset the search. Hunters close distance sector by sector. If you waste the storm standing still, then you trade your biggest advantage, mobility under cover, for temporary comfort.
Yeah,
Option
that's a bad
C,
idea.
setting a decoy, is also wrong because this is basically pointless here. The rain erases trails for
Yeah,
both
the
of you,
rain's
so
already got
detour
you.
false signs won't be effective here. And option D, moving uphill, is also wrong because it's just wasted energy. The rain already gives you maximum cover, so extra effort just slows your escape and gives the hunters time to reposition.
I feel like there was a thing that I can't be going insane that it's like it's a survival tactic to move uphill or something. Maybe that doesn't apply if like you're being tracked or something. My first instinct was to run.
So you push ahead,
So I'll give
aiming
myself
to
credit for
maximize
that.
distance. The rain keeps
I
hammering
need
down,
every
and for
point
a
I can
moment,
get, man.
it feels like the cover will last, but of course it never does. When the storm thins to mist, every sound carries sharper, and that's when you hear it. A flock of birds burst from the tree line ahead, their wing beats frantic. It could be you they're reacting to, could be someone else. Birds don't lie, they react. Something moved close enough to spook them. How do you interpret and act on this? Option A, freeze immediately, assume they were reacting to you, and hold until quiet. Option B, use the distraction to sprint farther while their noise covers you. Option C, circle carefully towards the disturbance to see if another human caused it. Or option D, backtrack silently to put more distance between you and the point of disturbance.
A, wouldn't it? Because you want to freeze? Right? This is the whole movement thing we're talking about, right?
So the
But just before I say A, I do want to make it known. Backtracking silently could also be a potential option, but there's movement. I think freeze is the correct one. Right?
So the correct answer here is option A, freeze
Yes.
immediately, assume they were reacting to you, and stay quiet. So the reason this is the right answer is because birds are some of the oldest tracking alarms in the world. By freezing, you avoid compounding the disturbance and you buy yourself time to assess whether the birds were reacting to you or something else. In evasion, every noise is doubled, your sound and the forced reaction. Staying still lets you separate the two. Option B, sprinting, is the wrong answer because it just doubles down on noise. Here, you don't just scare the birds, you confirm your exact position.
Yeah.
Option C,
Could be bad if there's a human there as well hunting you and they've just come out of the tree line and they see you rushing.
circling in, is also wrong because if it wasn't you that made the noise, you're walking into their approach vector.
Exactly. Why would you walk towards the thing that is causing the problem? Like, what if it's what if it's a bear? Boom, you're gone.
And option D, backtracking, is wrong because this wastes time and energy and it still doesn't tell you who triggered the birds. So you stay still, and the forest falls
that's
quiet
true.
again.
It doesn't allow for information. You should actually just stay still, gather the information, and see how we go.
And you start moving again in trepidation. You push on until another noise alerts you. It's loud and heavy, but it's not footsteps. Water. A river. Loud enough to mask your noise, but also with a current that's strong enough to drown you. What's the best move here? Option A, swim straight across at the wide point.
Dead, very dead.
Option B, move upstream or downstream to a narrower crossing before attempting.
I don't think you should cross the river.
Option C, walk along the water line instead of crossing. Or option D, wade in shallow sections parallel to the bank without crossing fully.
Wade in shallow sections parallel to the bank without crossing fully. Probably D, because you want to still get rid of potential markings, but I don't know, like, parallel to the bank. Yeah, D.
So the correct answer here is option B, move upstream or downstream to a narrower crossing before.
Oh, you actually do want to cross it. Wow. Move upstream or downstream to narrower crossing before attempting. Really? I'd say it's pretty risky. It said it's strong enough to drown you.
Attempting. So the reason this is the right answer is because crossing water is one of the best ways to break your trail. It smothers sound, it washes away your scent, and it also erases footprints. But attempting it at a wide, fast-moving section is reckless. You'll burn energy, risk getting swept away, and you come out colder and weaker than before. A narrower section gives you the same masking benefits with less danger and less energy cost. Option
Okay,
A,
fair enough.
swimming across at the wide point, is wrong because it maximizes every single risk.
Yeah, you're just gonna die. You're gone.
Exhaustion,
You're gone, bro.
cold shock,
Like crossing the
drowning.
Strid.
Even if you survive, you'll be depleted and slower afterward.
Yeah.
Option C, walking the waterline, is also not the best option because it doesn't hide anything. Wide, muddy prints along the edge create a perfect breadcrumb
Yeah, that
trail
would be bad.
for the trackers. And option D, shallow wading, has the same problem where it's predictable and obvious. You leave a continuous trail without gaining real benefit of.
It's obvious? What can shallow sections... I don't really know what it means by wade in shallow sections. Like, shallow sections. What's shallow sections? Could have water. Don't know. Could be like a little side river. Who knows?
Crossing.
Yeah.
You eventually haul yourself onto the far bank, tired but in one piece. But your relief fades instantly. On the bank, you see signs of human activity. The mud is pressed flat, and the bark is scraped raw. Whoever you're evading just crossed here minutes ago.
That's
Too
not
close for
good.
coincidence. What do you do? Option A, stop and study the sign to understand direction and timing. Option B, move quickly away before they loop back. Option C, mask your trail immediately. Or option D, follow their tracks briefly and then break off.
Okay. Don't do D. Don't do D. Why would you do that? That is such a bad idea. Stop and study the sign to understand direction and timing. Move quickly away before they loop back. Mask your trail. Well, you've already just masked your trail. I think A.
So the correct answer here is option A, stop and study the sign to understand direction and timing.
This guy's got a
So the reason this is the right answer is because at this stage, information beats speed. If you run blind, you could sprint right into them. Studying the sign tells you where they were moving, if they're ahead of you, if they're behind you, how heavy they were moving, and how fresh the disturbance is. All of these things are critical in a pursuit where proximity is already confirmed. Option B, running, is wrong because if they're just ahead, you collide into them, and if they're behind, you only widen your scent and noise. Option C, masking, is also bad because this wastes time without knowing their vector, and it's meaningless if the trackers are nearby already.
And you
Option
just did
D,
it.
following, is wrong because it puts
it.
you straight into their line of travel. If they're laying traps, you'll walk right into one.
Yeah,
so you stop
exactly.
and study the prints, and they tell you one thing clearly. They were moving downstream. Fast. But the freshness of the sign gnaws at you. It must have been half an hour at most, maybe less. Close enough that if you sprint, you risk overtaking them, but also close enough that if you hesitate, they could double back. So you move on. But the silence feels loaded. When the trees finally begin to thin, you see a strip of gray cut across the forest floor. It's asphalt. You've reached a road. You stare down this road. Civilization is close enough for you to hear its hum. But roads aren't only freedom, they're also funnels. Every evader knows prey gravitates towards them, and every pursuer knows it too. How do you cross without turning yourself into a silhouette in the open? Option A, sprint straight across immediately. Option B, wait until dark and then cross. Option C, create a diversion and then cross undercover. Or option D, move along the tree line until you find a bridge or tunnel.
I'd say D, because sprinting across could very well be dangerous. Wait until dark, then cross. Potentially you could do that. Actually, that's probably a better idea. I think it's either B or D. Wait until dark, then cross. Create a diversion. Like, how are you creating a diversion? What's a diversion going to do in this situation? Like, genuinely, what diversion could you create to get out of this situation? You don't know where the tracker is. How are you going to distract them? I think that's a bad idea. Bridge or tunnel, but yeah, I think it's wait till dark, because if you're moving along a tree line until you find a bridge or tunnel, what's to say that they aren't in the bridge or tunnel? Like, you're still exposed.
So the correct answer here is option C, create a diversion and then cross undercover. So the reason this is the right
What diversion are you creating? What are you talking about? What? Yeah, what? What am I creating?
answer is because diversion buys you seconds, and seconds are survival. That could mean tossing
Diversions buy you seconds.
a rock into the opposite tree line, letting a stage branch crack after you've moved.
How is tossing a rock into the opposite tree line going to help? Like, if a person is tracking you and they're like on the road staring in your direction and they see a rock just, where are they going to look first? Letting a staged branch crack after you've moved? How do you do that? How do you set this up? Or dropping an object that makes noise once you're already halfway across? What? How is this gonna work? Like, you're making dropping an object that makes noise once you're already halfway across. So like, you just got your keys on you and then you walk halfway across the road and you just drop them beside you. Yeah, that's gonna do something. What are you talking about? Dropping an object that makes noise once you're halfway across. Huh?
or dropping an object that makes noise after you're already halfway across. The point is to pull focus away from the road itself, just long enough to cross the gap. Option A, sprinting, is the wrong option because while this is the fastest move, it's also the loudest and the most visible. Option B, waiting for a night, is also not the best because you waste time, and darkness doesn't mean invisibility. It also makes footing worse and your mistakes louder, and you don't want your escape hinging on not tripping. Option
Okay, but I still don't see how creating a diversion is going to work. You're still got to cross the road in daylight. And let's put this into theory. You're sprinting across. So C and A you are doing. Because, what, are you going to waddle across the road?
D, looking for infrastructure, is also not the best option because while it's true that bridges and tunnels do exist, if you know their options, so does the hunter.
Exactly. So at least I was right with D. But I still don't see how C is the best option for this one. Like, a diversion. What diversion are you creating? You don't know where the hunter is. You don't know what's happened. And look, in theory, if they're in front of you now and they've come to a road, they're either going to be gone down further in the road or they're like waiting for you to come out the same spot they are. Like, what, do we know that the hunter has gone further? In which case it makes even less sense because then why would you be crossing the road? Why wouldn't you go down the road?
In escape scenarios, speed and momentum are essential, and bridges and tunnels are predictable choke points. If you're being hunted, those are the first places the pursuer will cover. Waiting until you find one just means burning time and energy walking along a road edge that's wide open anyway. The point of
I would say take a tree line to the town. What's stopping us from doing that? Why do we have to cross this road?
causing a diversion here isn't that they make you invisible, it's that they give you a slim time window. But in this kind of test, that's all you need. If you buy yourself just 5 seconds, this might be the difference between making it across and being spotted in the open. So you move. The crack of a branch.
I still don't see how a diversion is gonna help in this situation. Like, what? So who's looking at you? Where are you going? Like, what? I'm a little bit confused of that scenario.
Splits the silence behind you, the sound you planted, not the sound of pursuit.
So the crack of the branch splits the silence behind you, the sound you plant. Okay, so how did you plant that? That's what I want to ask. How are you realistically creating a timed branch split? Like, do you like throw it up in the air and then run and then it like crashes behind you? In which case you've just done A. You've just run across the road. Sorry, that's really
for a
annoying
heartbeat. The world goes still except for your pulse, and then you see the headlights, cars on the highway, people. You flag them down.
You see headlights, so it's dark. So you did B as well. Just saying. Just saying.
Or maybe you just think you do. Their brakes hiss, doors slam, and figures spill out, silhouettes against the floodlights. For the first time in days, you stop running.
Why? Just frozen in fear, I guess. Okay. The crack of the branch splits behind you, the sound you planted. Okay, so you're saying that it didn't work. You're saying the diversion didn't work. Okay, yeah. And then you see the headlights. Cars on the highway, people, you flag them down? Is it realistic to see headlights in broad daylight? I mean, it is, but are you through a tree line? Are you out on the road? I'm a little bit confused.
But as they close in, a thought gnaws at you. Rescue and capture look the same at a distance. But too late, your knees give. Your vision narrows. The noise of the highway swallows everything.
Okay, so they're on the highway.
You survive. Probably. So that concludes the last of the questions,
Probably?
and hopefully
That's
you
it?
made it. And hopefully you're also keeping track of how many questions you got correctly.
Dude, I failed, man. I failed big
Because
time.
I'm now going to tell you what your score means.
Oh.
If you scored between 0 and 6 points, you would have been immediately captured.
Hey! That's me, bruh.
You wouldn't have lasted the first night, and the wrong calls you made stacked fast. Exposure, noise, careless signs.
But I feel like I did. I feel like I was really careful with what I wanted to do. I just feel like the questions weren't laid out in a way that was conveyed very well. Because there are some questions where I feel like I explained some pretty logical points. There were some things I didn't know, like the campfire in the air thing. Like, if you're on a really high ridge, that's actually, like, insanely easy to see. I didn't know that. I don't go camping. I don't know. I'm a city boy. No, I'm not a city boy. I'm an urban boy that...
In a real pursuit, you'd be walking straight into the hunter's scope. If you scored between 7 to 12 points, you might have survived a day, but not long enough to last. You buy yourself time, and you have some good instincts, but your mistakes would bleed your energy until exhaustion or a snare finish you off.
Oh, good job, boys.
You'd be found in under a week. If you scored between 13 to 17 points, you would be a short-term survivor. You've got survival logic, and you'd outlast most people, but gaps in your decision would also add up. Maybe a wrong crossing, resting too carelessly or in the wrong place. You'd make it close to extraction, but not all the way. If you scored 18 to 20 points, it would be a close call. You have solid instincts. You'd endure days of pressure, weather, and paranoia and still keep moving.
Wow.
You might have made a few slips here and there, but nothing fatal. And you'd probably reach the edge of civilization with real odds of getting
I
out.
feel like a lot of these answers are potentially right. It's just you need to have a logical through line to them. Just my thought.
Alive. And finally,
Maybe that's the cope talking.
if you scored between 21 to 22 points, you're a ghost. You didn't just survive, you completely vanished. Every move was calculated, every mistake was avoided. The hunter would know you were out there, but they'd never close the distance. Rescue or self-extraction, you made it. Thank you for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so... Well, I'm curious to see what the comments say about this one. Let's see. The right answer is almost always my second choice. I'd be dead from the... Exactly! Exactly! If I wake up in the middle of the forest with amnesia, first thing I do is call loudly for help and head towards the people. I don't know about that. Dog, keep in mind, you didn't know your clothes either, so clearly you've been tampered with. Wow. This is a fairly recent video as well, so unfortunately there's not a lot of like popular comments, but I think majority of people have clearly been destroyed by this one. I was just barely off of a perfect score from the zombie apocalypse. 15 out of 22. That's actually not bad. Damn, impressive. Yep. Anyway, W video, pretty good. I think we just need like more explanation for, I suppose, these questions. But then again, like, you're always going to get stuff like that. We don't know the scenario. So long as you provide logic, you can sort of have a decent idea of what you're talking about. But you don't always get it right. Anyway, that was GG's. Well played. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty solid, if you ask me. Righto. W video.